Well, I've been a therapist for 12 years, and I've seen a lot in my time throughout these last 12 years. And I've noticed the one thing across the board that has been the most limiting belief that I've encountered is that I am not good enough. And no matter what was going on in this person's life or these people's lives, whether it was friends or family or clients or fellow therapists, it was the almost sadly normal feeling of feeling not good enough. And so that was also my limiting belief when I started doing a lot of the internal work that I've been doing over the last few decades, my whole life actually. I think we do our self-work our whole lives. But I noticed that I just would dim my light down for others, and I would hear somebody say one thing, and you could have 10 people saying, "I love this about you," but you'd hear that one person that says, "I don't like that about you." It could be the littlest thing, to the shirt you're wearing even. It could be the smallest thing. So it really got me thinking today about how we need to pump ourselves up every day, because if you don't pump yourself up, no one's going to pump you up. You got to pump yourself up. I think, didn't Schwarzenegger say that? The Terminator. I think he said that. You got to pump it up. Yeah, you got to pump yourself up. That was really stupid. So anyway, I'm delirious tonight. I've been working all day, but I'm off tomorrow. It's my birthday, and I'm taking the whole day off. So a self-care day. It's going to be a fun day. But anyways, you gotta pump yourself up. If you don't inject yourself with good thoughts, you're never gonna feel good. You're gonna constantly be on this roller coaster of one day you feel good, and the next day you don't feel so good. And so we got to rip those roots out, and we've got to remember that these things you're thinking about yourself that make you feel not good enough. First of all, it's like, not good enough for who? For whom? Like, who gets to decide what's good enough and what's not? You do. That's the secret. And what are we measuring ourselves against? Other people? Why? How? You can't compare yourself to anybody. That's what we do. We compare. And you can't compare you to anybody else. We're just like everybody else. We're unique. The paradox of that. We're all unique. And so who gives a crap what everybody else is doing? You got to think about what you're doing. What are you doing internally to you? You're the only one that matters. If you want to help people and you want to, serve people, you got to pump yourself up first so you can overgive if you need to others, because you won't be depleted if you do that. And I think a lot of people actually carry self-hatred. We spiral a lot from and ruminate on old thoughts that we've had for so long. I got a comment, and I'll just speak straight to you about that self-hatred. I think self-hatred comes from things that happen to us, again, and we define them as our fault, or we look at ourselves as less than because something happens to us. When the reality is, like, bad things have happened to so many people. And I felt alone when things happened to me when I was a kid. Like, I felt super alone. But then whenever I got older, I realized so many people have had these things happen to them. A majority of people have had trauma and really dangerous, scary things happen to them. And so I think that we feel so much shame. I think there's shame underneath self-hatred for sure. Shame for so many different reasons that would be a whole other video. But it's just practice thoughts. It really comes down to that, because I've done so much research over the years. Like, I don't just see clients. I am constantly working. My brain is constantly figuring out what is something new that I can learn that could possibly make mental health make more sense, or these people that are in my life that have seemingly impossible situations right now. How can I console them? How can I teach them skills that they can use their mind to feel better somehow? Because I can't prescribe them medication. nor would I really want to do that. And I can't fix their problem for them. How can I train them to train their minds to think differently? And so over the years, that's all I've dedicated my life to, really, is over 12 years, is what are the answers? Looking for the truth, basically. So, and I realized that we're just addicted to the way we have always thought. And when I got introduced to Joe Dispenza and, Abraham Hicks and Bashar and, all the people that I enjoy listening to, I don't know what anyone else likes out there, but that's what I enjoy listening to. And that's what made sense for me. And so as I put different pieces together and then learned about quantum physics, and this stuff is in the Bible too, and there's just so many things to pull from, that I just kind of came up with my own frameworks and what worked for me and what's working for clients and friends and other people that I know. But it's training your mind to think what you want it to think. We just don't know that we can do that. And again, when I realized that, I was like, wow, we can train our brains and we can think whatever we want. Why would we choose to think I hate myself when we could choose to think I love myself? Even if we don't believe it. But no one taught us that we could think things we don't believe. But that's what faith is. It's crazy to me that some people believe, they're like, yes, faith, hope, love. But they don't live by faith, hope, love. What if we actually lived by faith, hope, and love? Those words that we have on our walls and our license plates and whatever else, let's live by them instead of just using them as, something to look at. Let's actually, apply those things and embody them and be them. And I had to come out of that myself too. I was like, man, I'm not being this enough. I'm just going back to that same old story. So we have to really look inside and say, what am I thinking? And why am I thinking it? Because when you know the why, then you can start looking at your past as, hey, this is just data. I made this mean something and I didn't even know I meant it mean. I didn't know I did that. That's what I was trying to say. I didn't mean to do that. And I didn't know I was attaching a meaning to it. And I didn't have to give it that meaning. And so one of the things is just learning to love yourself is super important, because when you love yourself, then you start to not listen to anybody around you. And it's so crazy, because one reason I didn't start YouTube, again, I've mentioned this before, but I was scared of getting comments that would be mean or weird or whatever, and really haven't gotten any of those. But too many at least. But I'm just myself. I decided I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to churn videos out every day and see how well I do and see if I help anybody. That was what I did. It was an experiment. This whole thing is an experiment, just to see what I could do and then see how many people I can help and see where it takes me in my life, because I already have my dream job and I already have other things I'm working on. This is just something more for my soul. I've always wanted to help way more people than I was helping one-on-one. And I'd love to help millions. That would be amazing, because it really is this simple, that we just have to change the way we see ourselves, because we're seeing our whole world as we see ourselves. And I just can't imagine, as I've learned to also let go of self-hatred inside myself, because I've experienced that as well. As I've let go of self-hatred, and more not even let go of it, but embraced it and learned from it. What is this trying to teach me about me? Why do I hate myself? What about me is so bad that I would hate myself, and I had to learn how to get through those things over the years. And then I had to learn to like myself, and then I had to learn to love myself. And really loving yourself is a decision and actions that you take daily, just like you would, do with a partner. It's we put all of our effort into a partner and into a business and into school and into everything else but ourselves. And that's where the true riches lies, in us. When you love yourself, there's nothing better than that, because you don't need anything anymore. After you love yourself, you're just kind of wow, I'm happy the way I am. This is awesome. And then everything else is just cherry on the top. And so, yeah, I had to learn how to let go of self-hatred and shame. And does it pop up sometimes? Yes. I still have shame that I feel every now and again. But as you learn to, again, embrace and honor the feelings you're feeling instead of just pushing them away, just ask why they're there and link back to something in the past that you've been through, because it will show you something. There's some gem there that you might need to know for today, especially if something gets ignited in you today from some trigger that you're experiencing. There's something from the past tying you there. And I look at that like, okay, I'm holding, if I don't know what that is, then that's preventing me. It's like a blind spot. It's preventing me from getting to where I want to go. So you can do as big of a discovery mission as you want on your past, and or just start training your mind to think differently. And I love to do the thank you exercise where I just thank everything. I just thank everything. And like today I went to the doctor and got my blood drawn for like just a checkup that I like to do every year, just to check the blood. Even though it's just a screenshot of the moment, but I like to just see where it's at, and I'm all bubbly in there. And like, I used to be not like everybody else is kind of stoic in there, and I'm just kind of more bubbly. And I used to tone that down, but I'm a happy person now. And I've had to train myself that way. So I'm going to shine my light. I'm not going to dim my light just because it makes others uncomfortable. So that's part of also loving yourself. And then loving yourself, when you finally do, it's like, that's whenever you can start using your mind for what it was meant for, which is to get everything you want, whatever that might be. Health, wealth, happiness, love, all those things. We are here to experience joy and love and laughter and peace and all those things, and also get the material stuff. There's nothing wrong with getting material things. We can have anything we want. We can have riches. Riches, we can have riches and money. I look at riches as health and happiness and peace. Those are real riches. And then the icing on top, the cake on top, the icing on top or the cherry on top is the money. We can have both. I love abundance. Abundance doesn't just mean money. It means love, relationships, synchronicities, gifts, and, giving gifts, receiving gifts. Like, there's so many forms of abundance. Communication is considered a form of abundance. So yeah, I guess the message in this one was not very planned at all, but normally they never really are yet, not too much. But I felt the need to talk about self-hatred a little bit because of the comment that I got. And we just have to remember to start training our minds to think what we want to think. And remember that everything that's in there right now has been programmed from the past. And that's the past self. We have to get over, like Joe Dispenza says, we have to get over the habit of being our old self. And the self we're being right now, we got to get over the habit, which means we've got to go into the unknown and change if we want to become a new self. It takes some bravery to let go of your old thoughts, because we're so addicted to them and we're so identified with them because they've been there so long. So we're like, I don't know how else to be. I've heard people say, I don't even know how to be happy because I've never really been happy. And so it's just a training. It's just a decision like, okay, I want to be happy. Okay. So then you just do this. You just look inside and you say, what makes me happy? What even makes me happy? What lights me up? What sometimes gets me excited? What makes me laugh? You start real small and you just get to know yourself, because we've forgotten who we are. We're so busy and all over the place and go. And I'm one of those people too. I get it. And so I have to really like slow myself down. Like I'm taking off tomorrow for my birthday and I'm taking off Friday so I can hang out with our niece all day, which I'm super excited about. But that meant that I had to cram as much in on these 3 working days. as much as I could. And so, but I decided, hey, no work on those 2 days at all. Like no work, because I work like all the time. The laptop's always open. And that is definitely a New Year's resolution that I'm starting right now is to have a cutoff time of work and turn the laptop off and read or do something different. And so we've got to pay attention to what we're paying attention to. I guess that's the message here. Pay attention to what you're paying attention to and start to shift those bad thoughts about yourself that are all lies into more of a loving, kind way. Look at it like, you're like they say, you're your own best friend. So like, would you say the things that you say to yourself, or think the things that you think about yourself, would you think those about your friends, like your best friend or your 3-month-old baby? It's like, would you tell a 3-month-old baby that, they're worthless or they aren't good enough? Like, no, we'd never do that. So why are you treating yourself that way? Because other people have treated you that way in the past, and it's so practiced that you're so used to thinking it that you think that's who you are, and that's not who you are. So it's just a repetition thing, because oh God, I had to get over myself too. I had to get over so many things. I was an overweight child, and oh God, that was really hard. And then when I lost a bunch of weight, everybody thought I was anorexic, and it's like, oh my God, like I just always had the extremes. You're too much of this and not enough of this. That's what it really was for so long. And so there was always this 50-50, like I know I'm great, but then I feel like I suck too. So that's the biggest thing I think a lot of us go through, is like there's this 50-50. And I've had clients write down on a piece of paper, they're 50-50. Like, I know I'm this on the left side, but I feel this, and you got to decide which side of the paper you're going to live on. It's a decision. And when you catch yourself on the other side of that paper, you just talk yourself back. You just gently guide yourself back. It's a gentle guiding back and remembering to do that, because if we don't remind ourselves to do that, we'll never do it. It's just gonna spiral. We're gonna ruminate. We're gonna flood our minds with all of this stuff that isn't even true. So we have to be really, really aware of what we're thinking about, because if you don't know what you're thinking about, you're going unconscious. You aren't even really present. It's just you're going right back to the old self. You got to get into the new self and start remembering, hey, I actually can decide what to think. Isn't that so great that we can actually decide what to think? And if you think you can't decide what you can think, then that is a belief. Where did that belief come from? You got to check yourself, because you will wreck yourself. That was stupid too. But we do. We wreck ourselves every day. My God, So anyway, yeah, it's just, I see it all the time, and I've done it myself. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping people with this, because it's so easy to fix it. It's so simple, but yet it's hard in the sense that we just don't know exactly what to do when we're in the moment. So I tell people to practice when you're not in the moment first. And then whenever you're in the moment, that's where it's almost like you're rehearsing before, and then you're on stage whenever it's time to actually change. It's like now it's time to perform on stage. So it's just a constant retraining and a constant reminding of who you truly are, because we're not, we're just spirits in these human bodies. That's all we're consciousness experiencing itself. So none of this is real. It's just kind of like the experience of it is real. And so if the experience is real, then let's create a good experience. But it takes practice, because we haven't maybe had the best experience. But if you're around a lot of negative people too, then you're going to take on that mood, and it's just going to go up and down. Like, I've heard a lot of people when they're alone, they're like, I do so much better when I'm alone. And then they get around people and they're like, oh my God, my mood's low. And it's like, of course we're going to be better alone, because we don't have anybody triggering us. But you got to stay like really firm and rooted in who you are as a person. And you got to figure out who you are, who you want to be. Like, maybe not even who you are right now. It's like, who do I want to be? What type of person do I want to be? You know, like, do I want to be loving and kind? Okay, how do I go from being the way I am now to loving and kind? Maybe you already are those things, but maybe you want to, level it up a little bit in some areas. So it's just a constant getting to know yourself. And I don't think we ever fully know ourselves anyway. So you're never done. So you don't have to worry about hurrying and getting this done quickly. It's just kind of like honoring yourself for where you are right now. There's nothing wrong. There's no hurry. And it's just keep it as simple as possible. And don't overload or overwhelm yourself with information either. Just, apply something that you hear in my videos or other people's videos. Just take some little piece of it that you like and pull it out and say, I'm gonna try this today. Like an affirmation I started saying today, because I'm reading Rhonda Byrne's Countdown to Riches book that it came out, I think, a couple months ago, and I got it. And one of the affirmations is, thank you for all the money that's coming into my life. And then there's another exercise that's, thank you for all the money I've already received throughout my life. I thought, those are really good to say. Thank you for, all the money that's coming into my life. Or thank you for all the health that's coming into my life. Or thank you for all the relationships that are coming into my life. Anything you want to say, just say that. And just start flooding your mind with those things versus the things you're already flooding your mind with that doesn't feel so good. So yeah, I think I'll end right there, or I will continue to ramble, you know me. So I hope this helped you in some way. If it did, please share it with somebody who might enjoy it or it might help. And please like and subscribe if you'd like to. And thank you so much for being here with me. This is so awesome. I appreciate all of you so much. And remember, you are loved. Pass that on to somebody who needs to hear it. And remember to appreciate yourself, because what you appreciate appreciates. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.